Bonjour à toutes et à tous et merci de nous suivre en direct dans la salle de presse virtuelle de la Commission européenne. Nous sommes le vendredi 21 août. Nous avons quelques annonces à vous faire avant de passer à vos éventuelles questions. Et permettez-moi d'appeler Viviane pour une annonce concernant des vaccins.
Thank you, Dana. And good afternoon. So yesterday, the Commission has concluded exploratory talks with CureVac to purchase a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The envisaged contract with CureVac, which is a European company developing a completely new class of vaccines, would provide for the possibility for all EU member states to purchase the vaccine, as well as to donate to low and medium income countries or redirect to other European countries. CureVac had previously received a 75 million euros of EU financing agreement for the development and large-scale production of vaccines. We will now work with CureVac on a contractual framework to have it in place for the initial purchase of 225 million doses on behalf of all EU member states to be supplied once the vaccine has proven to be safe and effective against the coronavirus. This announcement, of course, follows the positive steps that we've kept you informed about already regarding the Sanofi announcement on the 31st of July and Johnson & Johnson last week, as well as the signing of the first advanced purchase agreement with AstraZeneca last Friday. On our side, we will now continue our intensive discussions with the pharmaceuticals to make sure that we have, with the vaccine manufacturers, to make sure that we have the vaccines in place according to our vaccine strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Viviane. Avant de passer à vos questions, permettez-moi de vous annoncer ou de vous rappeler plutôt qu'à partir de lundi, nous allons retourner à notre programme normal où nous allons avoir une réunion de midi en direct dans la salle de presse chaque jour. Donc, nous passerons un mode normal. Fini l'horaire d'été. Voilà, merci beaucoup. C'était nos annonces pour aujourd'hui. Nous sommes maintenant ouverts à vos questions. Et je vois que Maria a la main levée et qu'elle a donc l'intention de nous poser une question. So, Maria, go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Hello, it's Maria Psara from Open TV Greece. I have a question on Turkey. Actually, it's after Hagia Sophia today, the Hora Church in Istanbul, which was a museum, transformed into a mosque. Do you have any reactions on this? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Maria. I will try to see if Christian, in his many hats, is connected so that he can attempt to give a reaction. Christian, are you there?
I am, yes. But usually I haven't covered this question, I must say. I think this is was more on, I'm not sure if it was on the foreign affairs side or on the cultural side.
Yes. So I would give the floor to Nabila, because with the summer permanence and the many hats that you wear this week, I was assuming that you wear that hat as well. But Nabila is here.
Good morning, Maria. We've just seen actually the announcement that you're talking about. We take note of the decision to turn Istanbul's Korakariye Church, which has served as a museum since 1945, into a mosque and open it to worship. Like Hagia Sophia, the Kora building is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. As a founding member of the Alliance of Civilizations, Turkey has committed to the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue and to fostering of tolerance and coexistence.
Thank you very much, Nabila. I now see that Athanasios has his hand raised. Athanasios, if your question is for Nabila, please go ahead. Otherwise, I will invite you to unraise your hand.
It is.
Yes, it is for Nabila, so go ahead.
It is for Nabila, it is Foreign Affairs, and it's on the information that's arriving from the Turkish Cypriot community that the city of Famagusta, which is currently enclosed, is about to reopen. There are some works on the site. They are building or rebuilding or demolishing things over there. And as we all know, there is a UN Security Council resolution from 1984 that protects the status of this city. So I was wondering what the European Commission can do about it. Are you informed of an intention from any party to reopen the city, and what's going to be the reaction on that? Thanks.
Thank you very much for your question, Athanasios. There is clearly a foreign affairs angle, but that question is actually for Vivian. Therefore, the question is noted, but I would still invite other colleagues in the meantime, if there are other questions for Nabila, to ask those, and we will get back to your question very rapidly thereafter. So I invite colleagues to ask additional questions to Nabila if there are any on the subject that was opened by Maria or on additional ones. I understand that Thibault has a question for Nabila, so Thibault, go ahead.
Oui, bonjour, Thibault Larget, Politico. J'ai une question sur la rencontre PSG-Bayern de Munich de dimanche. Et il y a eu des enquêtes qui ont montré que Qatar aurait versé des subventions indirectes au PSG leur permettant d'embaucher des joueurs à des salaires très élevés et par là aurait enfreint les règles de Financial Fair Play. Donc je voulais savoir si la Commission pourra enquêter de tels cas une fois ces nouveaux outils de contrôle des subventions étrangères en place et si elle le fera.
Merci beaucoup Thibault. Je me demande si une réponse à cela.
Non Thibault, j'ai bien peur de ne pas avoir de réponse à ce stade. Je te promets que je reviendrai vers toi et avec plus d'éléments une fois que j'aurai bien été voir ce qui se passe exactement. Je suis désolée, mais je reviendrai vers toi plus tard. Merci.
Merci beaucoup Nabila. Je vois une question de Ricard. So Ricard, please go ahead. I assume it's for Nabila.
Yes, it is. As usual. Hey, Nabila. I'm just wondering, I saw the tweet from Mr. Borrell that he had spoken to Mr. Lavrov, and I just wanted to know, did he raise the issue of Alexei Navalny as well? And is the External Action Service in any way involved in trying to get Mr. Navalny to EU territory for medical help? And also, Dana, a question for you, if I may. We've seen that Charles Michel has spoken to Vladimir Putin twice this week. Is Madame von der Leyen also in touch with the Russian president, or is there a labor of division between the two EU presidents, so to speak, when it comes to direct contact with the Russian president? Thank you.
Hello, Ricard, and thank you for your question. We are very worried about Alexei Navalny's health. Following his suspected poisoning yesterday, we wish him a swift and full recovery. We expect a swift, independent, transparent investigation. And if confirmed, those responsible must be held to account. We trust that the Russian authorities will stand by their promises to allow Mr. Navalny to be safely and speedily transferred abroad in order to receive medical treatment in line with the wishes of his family. We are grateful to the German medical services for their offer to take Mr. Navalny to Germany for his medical treatment. Our delegation in Moscow is in close contact with Navalny's office. We will continue to follow the development closely. I'm not sure if you had another question, Ricard. I'm sorry, I missed the question. Another question for me, or was it for Dana?
Yeah, it's more, is did Mr. Borrell raise the issue of Navalny in his talks with Lavrov yesterday? Because the tweet didn't mention this part. It mentioned only Belarus, in fact, and Iran. And also, is the EU actually involved directly in trying to get Navalny to the EU?
As you saw in the tweet, Ricard, the call focused on two very pressing issues, which are the Belarus and the preservation of the JCPOA, this is what they discussed yesterday. Having said that, I'm sure you've seen the tweet where the HRVP showed how preoccupied he was about the situation of Mr. Navalny, and he reacted publicly to the suspected poisoning of Mr. Navalny as soon as we found out, and before the call took place. So the Russian authorities are well aware that we are closely watching this and our expectations regarding the need for his safe transfer and treatment, as well as the independent investigation. As for if we are speaking, I think about his transfer, as I said, the delegation is involved closely, and we are in contact with all our counterparts. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nabila. As to your question concerning President von der Leyen and possible other contacts, I would like to inform you that President von der Leyen is following the situation in Belarus very closely. She's in very frequent contact with many parts and stakeholders that follow this closely as well. There is a very fluid communication with the President of the European Council on this and on all other relevant matters. As regards direct contacts with President Putin, I have no announcements at this stage to make regarding any such direct contacts between the President of the European Commission and the Russian President. Thank you, Richard. I see now that Moses' hand is raised. So, Moses, I assume that your question is for
Nabila. Yes, thank you, Dana. I would also like to ask a question to Nabila, and that concerns the ruling by the Special Tribunal for Lebanon on Tuesday. I noticed that the spokesperson, maybe Nabila herself, issued a statement on Tuesday evening on that ruling, where one of the four suspected defendants was convicted for this assassination of the Prime Minister of Lebanon. And I would like to ask a clarification about that statement, because he said that we hope that judgment will be given appropriate follow-up by Lebanon, and also that the statement stressed the importance of Lebanon's continued commitment to the full implementation of its international obligations, including, that United Security Resolution 1757, which established a tribunal. So I wonder what you might have in mind. What exactly should happen now after the ruling of the tribunal? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Mose. I think you, as you said, you've looked at the statement that we published right after the ruling. Now I think we need to see how things will evolve, leave it to a due course, and then we take it from there. But at this point, I don't think I can add anything to the statement that was published and to our reaction.
Thank you very much, Nabila. I invite you to raise your hand if you have additional questions for Nabila today. I see Anna's hand raised, so I imagine that it's for Nabila. So in this case, Anna, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Hello?
can hear you.
Thank you for offering me a possibility. My question is also actually on Navalny, because technically I couldn't join you earlier. I wish to find out if Mr. Borrell raised the issue in the frame of European Convention of Human Rights, and if he has underlined that it's Article 2 of European Convention on Human Rights, right to life, and if also Mr. Borrell discussed the issue with his colleagues in the Council of Europe, because at the moment the hospital prevents the family to transport Mr. Navalny to Germany, to corresponding relevant hospital, and accepting this invitation, kind invitation of Chancellor Merkel. So my question is about our European Convention of Human Rights and Article 2 and this frame, how the issue has been framed.
Nabila?
Do I need to push? Hi, Anna. Thank you for your question. As I said earlier in my statement, is that yesterday in his call with Mr. Lavrov, the HRVP focused on the situation in Belarus and the preservation of the JCPOA at this point in time. When it comes to Mr. Navalny, you've seen that he reacted very early on. The High Representative already reacted publicly to the suspected poisoning of Mr. Navalny just before the call took place. And the Russian authorities are well aware that we are closely watching this and that our expectations regarding the need of his safe transfer and treatment as well as independent investigation. I don't think I can add anything at this point in time to what we have said already about the situation of Mr. Navalny, apart from the fact that we are extremely preoccupied by his health and that we wish him swift and full recovery.
Thank you very much, Nabila. I understand that Anna has a follow-up question since her hand is still raised. So Anna, go ahead. No, that doesn't seem to, yes?
Yes, no, it works. It works. Good. Thank you. Well, it actually wasn't the question because I heard what you said. You answered already my colleagues at length. And my question is, if I reformulate it, because I think it was not correctly understood, if Mr. Borrell reminded Russia about its obligation in the Council of Europe, because Russia also signed for European Convention of Human Rights, and that there is an obligation to respect Article 2, namely right to life of Mr. Navalny. So that is the aspect I wanted to find out.
Anna, I think I will get back to you on this question. At this point in time, I cannot go further than what I said. I will get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabila. I will now invite colleagues to ask additional questions to Nabila if you have any. So please raise your hand if that is the case. I do not see any hands raised. So thank you very much, Nabila. And now we open the floor to other questions. But before, I need to invite Vivian on stage to provide an answer to the question that was asked by Athanasios regarding Cyprus.
Hi, Athanasios, and thank you for your question. The Commission is aware of these announcements about the plans to reopen the fenced-off area in Varosha, in Famagusta. On the status of Famagusta and Varosha, the European Union will continue to be guided by the United Nations Security Council Resolution 550 from 1984, the one you referred to yourself, as well as other relevant Security Council resolutions. We have repeatedly emphasized that it remains crucial that Turkey commits and contributes to the settlement of the situation in Cyprus, including its external aspects, within the United Nations framework, in accordance with the relevant Security Council resolutions, as well as the principles on which the European Union is founded. And on the European side, we will continue to convey clear messages to Turkey regarding that. It still remains urgent for the parties to seek, with the support of the United Nations, a path back to the resumption of settlement talks, aimed at the reunification of the island in the EU, inside the EU, based on a bicommunal and bizonal federation with political equality as set out in the United Nations Security Council resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vivian. I will now invite you to ask additional questions to Vivian, if you have any, on this subject, on Cyprus or another subject that she covers, since she's on stage. I do not see any questions for you, Vivian, so thank you very much. We now open the floor to other questions, and I see Lily's hand is raised. Lily. I hope that Lily can connect. Yes, she's there.
Hi. I have a question regarding Commissioner Hogan. So Ireland's agriculture minister has resigned after attending a golf event with 80 people, and Commissioner Hogan was also in attendance. So my question for you is, does Commission President von der Leyen believe that Commissioner Hogan should remain in office after attending this event? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Lily. This enables me indeed to clarify that, as you said, Commissioner Hogan attended on Tuesday an event organized by the Irish Parliamentary Golf Society. He attended so in good faith. He attended this event on the clear understanding that the organizers and the hotel concerned had been assured by the Irish Hotels Federation that the arrangements proposed to be put in place for the event were or would be in compliance with the government's guidelines. So this is the situation regarding Commissioner Hogan's participation to that event. Allow me also to say that Commissioner Hogan, on a broader note, takes very seriously the COVID-19 rules and regulations. And as an illustration of this, upon his return from Brussels to Ireland for the summer holiday, he had self-isolated himself for 14 days in accordance with the local regulations in Ireland. And this is an example of how seriously he takes rules and regulations on COVID-19. Lily, I think you have a follow-up question.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, please.
Before the event, that in good faith, he did not realize what the circumstances would be. But once he was at the event, did he leave early? Did he raise concerns about the circumstances? And more broadly, I think many of us are quite curious whether you're creating any concrete guidelines, because I think the last time we raised this question, there were no concrete guidelines for commissioners themselves. But this summer, commissioners are traveling very widely, some of them to countries and regions which have quite high COVID rates. So I was wondering if any new policies and sanctioning mechanisms are being put in place for the future. Thank you.
Lily, I missed the beginning of your question. The sound was not good, but if I understand you correctly, you asked whether once on the premise Commissioner Hogan did anything, if he left early or anything like that. Well, I don't have any specific information about how long he stayed there. What I can clearly say is that the Commissioner attended this event only because he was assured, after asking about that the event would be in compliance with the rules established by the Irish authorities, and therefore he attended it completely in good faith. I do not have information about how long he stayed there, and obviously with hindsight, had he known that the event would not be in compliance with the rules and guidelines established by the Irish authorities, he would not have attended it, because it's important for him to act responsibly in matters regarding COVID-19. Regarding the commissioners, I think we had the opportunity to say here that commissioners are citizens, and for the President it is important that all the members of the College act responsibly in matters regarding the COVID-19 rules and regulations. These are important matters pertaining to not just to the individual health of the commissioners, but pertaining to public health. And this is why we believe it's necessary and important that commissioners take all the precautions that are necessary depending on their travel arrangements for the summer, so as to comply with the rules and regulations that are in place around the EU. Thank you very much. I see that Shona now has a question. Shona? I hope that Shona is connected. She is trying to connect. While waiting for her to be connected, I will open the floor to other questions. So anyone else, any other questions for us today on this or other matters? I do not see any other questions, so I do wait for Shona in this case.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's fine, you are there.
In relation to what happened at the golfing event on Wednesday, given that we know that a minister has resigned already, a senator has resigned, and there were over 80 people at the event, which I suppose is kind of a clear breach of the guidelines. Do we know, is this the end of the matter now, and has Commissioner Hogan spoken with President von der Leyen? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question, Shona. I missed the beginning of your question, as was the case for Lily earlier, but I imagine the question is what happens now. So I can, and about the developments in Ireland, we take note and we are aware about the developments in Ireland and about the resignations that you mentioned. As regards Commissioner Hogan, I can only repeat that he attended this event in good faith and following assurances that he received that the event would be organized in conditions which are fully compliant with the regulations introduced by the Irish authorities. And of course, with hindsight, he regrets the fact that this seems not to have been the case. And with hindsight, he would not attend an event which is not in line with the obligations introduced at local level. But it's not for us here for the Commission to comment further on the number of people that attended this event and on whether the event, on what respects was or wasn't compliant with the guidelines and regulations introduced by the Irish government. I think that Shona has a follow-up question.
Yes, sorry. Do we know, has Commissioner Hogan spoken to President von der Leyen about the issue?
President von der Leyen is in very frequent contact with a member of the College about all relevant matters. And such contacts are not interrupted by the summer holiday, and of course, President is informed about the matter. Thank you very much. I wonder if there are any other questions for today. I do not see any additional hands raised. So this leads me to concluding that there are no additional questions for us today. Indeed, no other hand raised. So I thank you very much. I wish you a very good afternoon and weekend, and we see each other on Monday. Bye-bye.